Hi, welcome back to my channel. If you've been here before, I want to make this a quick video. I've been thinking this week and I guess last week about what people call the soul or personality, what I would call personality. At work, sometimes I've been watching videos about the parts of the brain. Now I've already been familiar with what parts of the brain do, like the amygdala and the prefrontal lobe and sensory inputs and so forth. But I've always been intrigued by personalities. What makes one person have a unique personality with certain desires, just as distinguished from another person? Is it life experiences? There's an author whose work I imagine I would really enjoy. When asked, I would say that I really enjoy this author, although ironically, I haven't really read his stuff. I've read one short story, and I'm familiar with his stuff because it had been made into famous movies, and I'm aware of the differences between his original stories and the movies. His name was Philip K. Dick. His story, Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep, was adapted and made into the movie Blade Runner. He wrote another one called Minority Report, and there was another. His story, We Can Remember It For You Wholesale, was made into the movie Total Recall. So you can see the theme that he has. He's questioning what I just asked. What makes a person think in certain ways, and what would you what would be the target in order to change somebody into somebody totally different? What identifies you as the person you know yourself to be? So I'm at work and I'm watching videos about what each part of the brain does. You know, there's a part that right around here that detects inputs of the senses like touch along parts of the body. There's the prefrontal lobe that regulates the impulsive activity, among other things. It's responsible for emotion and regulate, I believe, and regulates, has a sense of judgment and regulates the impulsivity of the amygdala. The amygdala also involving the fight or flight. Actually, I count four. It's typically three, but freeze, I think, should be genuinely considered as the fourth F. Fight, flight, fawn. I think it's fight, flight, freeze, and then I think the fourth should actually be fawn. Fawn over. So anyway, there are different parts, and then the occipital lobe deals with processing vision. But beyond that, what identifies personality? The Myers-Briggs personality test tests for one of 16 personality types, and that's, if you go all the way back, that's based on Freud, and a lot has been developed since Freud, and even Freud took it from like old, I think there were Greek notions or ancient notions about humors and bad humors and so forth. And so it's like a car. You have different parts that move and are operable. But what makes a car decide to, or what makes a car, I shouldn't say decide, what makes a car move, take a left turn instead of a right turn? Well, it's because there's a driver inside deciding for some reason to turn left instead of right. Well, if you have these parts of the brain operating, what what causes somebody to be interested in certain things as opposed to other things. And I had also been interested in Dramatica. I posted a video earlier in this channel about Dramatica and how it works. I hope I was clear on that. There's a lot more to it that I didn't even cover. Um, but Dramatica deals with a movie telling a message, communicating a message, and it's very thematic. It basically describes a periodic table of themes that become twisted as the mind is working through a problem, and the mind decides to do something a certain way. And there's something that I didn't get into in terms of my explanation of Dramatica, where each unit, there are four different things that a unit can do. It can flip, or I'm sorry, a quadrant of things. It can either rotate, in other words, that changes the order in which things are experienced, or it can flip, or it could do what Dramatica calls take the children beneath it as it flips. It could affect the one's lower units lower. If this doesn't make much sense, that's okay, because you haven't, especially if you haven't watched my other video on explaining Dramatica. But essentially, that seemed to be more centered on people's experiences. You know, people can be affected by life experiences, and those, no matter how grand or small the experience would be, would coax somebody or encourage somebody to enjoy one thing versus another. There are also perhaps genetic inheritance components that perhaps which would be passed down in terms of interests in certain fields. Like maybe family members may share interests in something. Maybe there's some aspect of personality that's genetically passed down. Where is that? That seems to be something within that's more what we would call personality, that would then drive these other aspects of the brain. So I just wanted to share that thought. I'm curious, besides the regulation of emotion and the sensory inputs and the processing vision and so forth, there must be something that is creating some sense of identity. Um, I think it wasn't Freud that had the ego, the superego, and the id, the super id, and the ego, so forth. There are different philosophers. I'd like to pin down exactly what is causing the brain to have certain personality traits as opposed to other personality traits. Okay, I think I've talked enough. I hope you watch other videos in this channel. Please consider subscribing. If you like theories that I discuss, or maybe you have ideas for topics you'd like me to explore. For example, one thing would be the holographic universe idea, the idea that we're living in a two-dimensional universe that's actually a three-dimensional projection from a two-dimensional universe, which has some bearing. There's some scientific evidence for it. And physicists have seriously considered that. I'd also like to talk about our developments in theoretical developments, but developments in terms of apparent faster than light travel in order to construct some kind of travel warp drive, as they use in Star Trek, to go from one planet to another or from one star system to another. I'd like to explore that, and I'd like to explore other topics. So if you like that, please consider subscribing. Please like this video and spread word of this channel around. All right. So long for now. Until next time. Bye.